Hey guys, it's Dee here, and today we're making a ruffled hat. We're going to use the shell and V-stitch, and this is the yarn that I will be using. It's 97% acrylic and 3% metallic fiber. I'm going to be using a 5mm hook. You need a darning needle, and you will need a pair of scissors to cut your strands off. A beginner can easily make this hat, and you can make this in less than an hour. I have this one as well. I used light 3 yarn for this one, and I used medium white yarn for the hot pink one. All right, with all that being said, let's dive into the tutorial and get started. We're starting off with a magic ring. This is how I do it. And I'm now going to insert my hook in that ring, pull up a loop, then chain 3, and then I'm going to yarn over, insert my hook in the ring, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, chain 1, and I'm going to make 2 double crochets in the ring. So insert your hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and then you make your second double crochet. After that, chain 1, and you're going to continue making 2 double crochets in the ring, and you need to do this until you have a total of 8 chain spaces. I have 7 chain 1 spaces, and to complete the round we need the 8th one. Okay, so chain 1, and then you're going to slip stitch on top of the first chain 3, like so. And then you're going to get your strand and pull it tight to close this ring. We shall weave this in later when we're done. So after that, we need to get to this chain 1 space, and in order to get there, we're going to slip stitch on top of the next stitch and make another slip stitch in the chain 1 space, like so. Chain 3, which is going to count as our first double crochet, and in the same space you're going to make 2 more double crochets. And here we have made a cluster of 3 double crochets. Then you're going to chain 1, and in the next chain 1 space you're going to make a cluster of 3 double crochets. That's 1, 2, 3. Chain 1, and in the next chain 1 space make 3 double crochets. And you're going to repeat this all the way around. When you get to the end of row 2, this is how your work will look. And to complete it, you're going to chain 1 and slip stitch on top of the chain 3, like so. Then now we're going to slip stitch until we get to this next chain 1 space. So slip stitch on top of the next 2 stitches and slip stitch in the chain 1 space, chain 3, which counts as our first double crochet, yarn over, and in the same space you're going to make a double crochet, chain 2, then make 2 more double crochets in the same space. And here we have a shell of 2 double crochets, chain 2, 2 double crochets, all in the same space. Moving on, chain 1 and make a shell in the next chain 1 space from the previous round. So make 2 double crochets, chain 2, 2 double crochets in the same space. Okay, chain 1, and then you're going to make another shell in the next chain 1 space. Chain 1, and you're going to repeat this all the way around, making a shell of 2 double crochets, chain 2, 2 double crochets in the same space, separated with a chain 1. So I'll meet you guys. This is my last shell for round 3. Once you get to the end, chain 1 and slip stitch on top of the 3rd chain. And that's how you complete row 3. Row 4 is going to be row 2. So we're going to repeat row 2, making a cluster in every chain 2 space and in the chain 1 space. Alright, so to start our 3rd row, we're going to slip stitch on top of the next stitch and make another slip stitch in the chain 2 space, chain 3, and then make 2 double crochets in the same space the chain 3 is coming out of to complete our first cluster. Chain 1, make a cluster in the next chain 1 space, chain 1, make a cluster in the chain 2 space, chain 1, make a cluster in the next chain 1 space. You're going to continue like this until you get to the end of the round. You're going to chain 1 and then you're going to slip stitch on top of the 3rd chain. Then slip stitch on top of the next 2 stitches, slip stitch in the chain 1 space, and we are now going to start our next row, which is 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're going to start row 5, and to start row 5 we're going to repeat row 3. So chain 3 and make a shell. So chain 2 and in the same space make 2 more double crochets, chain 1, and in the next chain 1 space make a shell of 2 double crochets, chain 2, 2 more double crochets in the same space, chain 1, and in the next chain 1 space make a shell of 2 double crochets, 2 more double crochets in the same space. And I'm going to repeat this all the way around. Okay, so at the end of row 5, this is how your work should look. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'll show you guys the measurement. And this is approximately 6.5 inches. Okay, in case someone needs to know that. So to complete the row, chain 1 and slip stitch on top of the chain 3, slip stitch on top of the next stitch, slip stitch in the chain 2 space. Now this next row is what we are going to repeat. I'll show you. So you're going to chain 3, which will always count as our first stitch, yarn over and make your first shell of 2 double crochets, chain 2, 2 double crochets in the same space. We're doing something different this time, so we're going to chain 1 and in the next chain 2 space, so we are skipping this chain 1 space from the previous row this time. So you're going to skip this space and in the next chain 2 space insert your hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, then chain 2, yarn over, back in the same space, make another double crochet. So we made 2 double crochets here, chained 2, made 2 double crochets in the same space. We chained 1, and then we made a V-stitch. A V-stitch is 1 double crochet, chain 2 double crochet in the same space. Chain 1, keep the next space, and in the next chain 2 space, you're going to make a shell of 2 double crochets, chain 2, 2 double crochets in the same space, chain 1, and in the next space you're getting a V-stitch, so make a double crochet, chain 2, double crochet in the same space, and you're going to keep alternating between a shell and a V-stitch. I'm going to repeat this, and I'll be back once I'm at the end of the round. When you get to the end of the round, you're going to slip stitch on top of the 3rd chain, slip stitch on top of the next double crochet, and slip stitch in the chain 2 space. And from here you're going to start your next round, which is the repetition of this row that we just completed. So where you have a shell, you make a shell, and where you have a V-stitch, you make a V-stitch. Chain 3, yarn over and make your next double crochet, chain 2, double crochet in the same space, chain 1, and where we have a V-stitch, we're going to make a V-stitch. Chain 1, next is a shell, so we make a shell of 2 double crochets, chain 2, 2 double crochets, all in the same space. So this is it. I'm going to keep alternating between a shell and this stitch, and we're going to repeat this pattern that we are working with for a total of 14 rows. So from here to where you stop, it's going to be 14 rows. Chain 1, make a V-stitch, chain 1, make a shell, chain 1. Once you get to the end, chain 1 and slip stitch on top of the 3rd chain. And now you're going to repeat those 2 rows, alternating between a V-stitch, a shell, separated with a chain 1 space right here, and of course you're chaining 2 between the shell and the V-stitch. So continue repeating those 2 rows, and I'll be back once we have a total of 14. I'm at the end of row 14, and this is how my work is looking. And I have 8 inches. We're now going to do the ruffles. So once you get to the end, you chain 1 and slip stitch on top of the 3rd chain. Then you're going to chain 3, which is going to count as our first double crochet, and in that same space where the chain is coming out of, you're going to yarn over and place there a double crochet. So here we have 2 double crochets in the same space, yarn over, make 2 double crochets on top of the next stitch, like so. Make 2 of them, yarn over. Here we have a chain 2 space, we're placing there 3 double crochets, okay, yarn over and make 2 double crochets on top of the next 2 stitches, Then when you get to the next chain 1 space, you are still going to place the 2 double crochets, make 2 double crochets on top of the next stitch, make 3 double crochets in the chain 2 space, make 2 double crochets on top of the next stitch, make 2 double crochets in the chain 1 space, then make 2 double crochets on top of the next 2 stitches, then the chain 2 again gets 3 double crochets. Oops. Okay, so now you get the pattern. We're placing 2 double crochets on top of each stitch and placing 2 double crochets in the chain 1 space and making 3 double crochets in the chain 2 space. And that is going to be the pattern for this round. So I'm going to meet you at the end. All right, once you get to the end of your first round of ruffles, you're going to slip stitch on top of the 3rd chain, like so. From here, you're going to chain 3, and in that same chain, in that same space where the chain is coming out of, you're going to insert your hook and make a total of 2 more double crochets. So we have 3 double crochets in the same stitch here, and then in the next you're going to make 1 double crochet, make 1 double crochet on top of the next stitch, then in the next make 3 double crochets, all in the same stitch, then make 1 double crochet on top of the next 2 stitches, then make 3 double crochets in the next stitch, then make 1 double crochet on top of the next 2 double crochets, then make 3 double crochets in the next stitch, and you're going to repeat with this pattern all the way around. Alright guys, I'm at the end of my second row for the ruffles, and here I have my 2 double crochets, so I'm going to make 3 in this next space, and then I have 1 stitch left, so I'm going to place there a double crochet and slip stitch to join. Chain 3, which counts as a double crochet, and in that same stitch make 1 double crochet. So in the next stitch make 2 double crochets, make 2 double crochets in the next stitch, 2 double crochets in the next stitch, 2 double crochets in the next stitch, and you're going to repeat this pattern, making 2 double crochets in every stitch. So here is what I have, guys, at the end of round 3 for the ruffles. This is what I have, and I'm going to end with a slip stitch on top of the 3rd chain. Then I'm going to chain 1, get my scissors and cut off the yarn, leaving a long tail to weave in. Now if you want more ruffles, you are free to go ahead and continue repeating this 3rd row, but as for me, this is enough. Then you're going to get your darning needle and weave in all your ends. Then get your scissors, cut off the rest, and also remember we have to weave in this tail. Don't just cut it off, because if you do that it may come out undone, and you don't want that. Cut that off as well, and you are now free to wear your hat. And this is how it looks. And that brings us to the end of this tutorial, guys. If you watched to the end, thank you so much. I'll see you in my next tutorial. Bye.